boy, they come to us.
Mm-hmm. They're not nervous about that.
We've mastered that part because no matter, even if there was like a tiger eating my arm off, my kids would both ask me for a snack and water. So they are not afraid to ask us for anything. They would step over me to ask me for a cup of water. Like I was being eaten alive by a bear.
And then you wouldn't respond fast enough, so then they'd come to me.
No, they would say, "Dad, did you hear me?" Dad, look at me. Dad. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Rising Marriage Podcast. I'm Chris Rodack.
And I'm Sara Rodack.
And last week we were talking all about communication. Part 1. We got so into it, we said we're going to have to make a part 2. And then we said this week we're going to talk about communication in times of crisis. And boy, did we have crisis this past weekend.
Yes, this whole weekend was crisis. And all I thought of was, wow, this is exactly what we talked about for our podcast. And here we are, right in the thick of it.
And I may have a crisis.
Oh, Lord.
In my pants.
I cannot.
In a couple minutes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So there's a reason for that. All right. Anyway.
We're going to have a serious crisis throughout this whole podcast.
Yeah.
I don't really think we should be as close as we are.
We're good. We got to power through. So I got to be up in 6 hours working out, and I have the, as they call it, the bubble guts.
Oh my God. But
we still have to do the podcast. We got to stick to our schedule. So we had big time stomach bugs going. Very different than the last one already. Look how much more natural we are. Not just on the second one. That was our thing. We said we got to be more natural in front of the camera. There you
go.
You
really embraced that.
Yeah. So stomach bug attacked our family. First, who's it first?
Lauren.
At the restaurant. So we were at a restaurant on today's Sunday. We were at a restaurant on Friday. And we were all sitting around the table outside. It was beautiful outside. Lauren's pale as a ghost.
All of a sudden, she was completely fine before we left.
We get our food. Or no, we got our drinks. And then Lauren goes, "Lemonade." She's just like shouting at us, "Lemonade." So I was like, "No, you can't talk to us like that." I thought she was being rude. So I didn't yell at her, but sternly, I was like, "Stop, Lauren. Say this again." And she goes, and pukes all over the table. I was like, "Oh, that's why she wanted the lemonade." And then I felt like an asshole.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was really out of her character that she was yelling like that. So I knew something was definitely wrong. Like, I knew she wasn't asking for her lemonade for that, but I did not think she was going to puke. I just could tell in her eyes she was like panicked a little bit. But after she did that, then we got her to move over and she puked 2 more times. So it was like, in public and in a place. And
she puked all over the table, all over the floor. And I think it was like total 3 or 4 times. She just kept on throwing up.
Yeah.
And there was probably 30 people out there on the patio with us. And we're just like watching her do it. We get up, pat her back. And then the waitresses come over and they weren't much help.
They were zero help. I ended up mopping the floor at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Of all of her throw up. So, yeah.
We won't say the restaurant. It's one of our favorite restaurants.
It is. What?
But the waitresses were not great.
I think they didn't know what to do because that never happened to them before at the restaurant. So I said, any mom would say this, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. If you need help cleaning it up, I can help." And I think like any mom just says that, but then like usually they go, "Oh my gosh, it's okay." And they were like, "Here's a bucket and mop." And I was like, "Oh shit." Yeah. So, but at the time, after all this happened, we reacted really quickly. And it's almost like the communication just happened between us without saying anything. Like, I gave Chris my keys because we had my car, And he just immediately takes Lauren to the car area to get out of the situation, where while Nathan and I, like, our food had just come out and the throw up did not go on the food. So like the food was safe. So we asked for boxes. So I put everything in a box before I cleaned anything else up because I didn't want to touch anything, and made sure I used like utensils and stuff to move everything into the boxes so that we could eat when we got home. And Nathan just made sure we had, he helped me carry the boxes while I didn't have him clean anything up. But it was good teamwork right on the spot because it was a little crazy. And then to me, that was like not even a big deal after what we had coming to us in the next coming hours. Like that was easy. That whole situation was easy.
The next hours? What happened in the next hours?
In the next hours. So we think we dodge everything. We get home, we eat, it's all good. And in the middle of the night, actually, this was the most traumatizing part for me of the weekend. So randomly we decide on a Friday, like I was really tired from my week, and jokingly I say to Chris, like, I could go to bed right now. And it's like not even 9. And I knew that we were going to put the kids in bed and then hang out, but I was really tired. And so he was like, actually, I could too. And I was like, whoa, I'll go to bed really early. He's like, yeah, me too. So we get into bed and Nathan's like, my stomach feels a little weird, but he's like a jokester. So we kind of thought he was like messing with us. And so we go to bed at 9. And once I looked at the clock after this, it was only 10:30, but Nathan walks in and he's like, Mom, I threw up. And this kid ate his whole dinner at the restaurant. So it was a full blown, like, adult vomit. And Chris was sleeping because he had just woken me up. Well, I, in my mind, was like, I'm just going to clean this up real quick. There's no use Chris waking up. Like, I truly felt that. And I was gagging.
Oh, she was loud.
Yeah, I wasn't loud.
You would have thought she wanted me to wake up and help her.
I swear I didn't. Like, my goal was to get it, but I almost projectile vomited like 4 times from the smell and the way that the vomit looked. Like I literally was.
That's how I woke up. It was you gagging in the bedroom.
No, I was in the hallway. But anyways, we had to tag team clean it up, and it took us like 40 minutes to clean it up because it was like so bad, and in the carpet and under his mattress and like on everything. It was terrible.
Yeah. So then we had it was just like an entire dinner was on the floor and it smelled just like the dinner.
No, it was way horrible. It was terrible. I could throw up now.
It was like midnight. And then he goes downstairs in the living room. We put him on the couch with like covered in covers and everything and buckets. And we finally finished cleaning. And as I'm about to go to sleep, he goes, Dad, can you snuggle me? And I was like, yes.
I was really glad he said dad and not mom.
Yeah. The last thing I felt like doing, did not want to do that. Like I wanted to snuggle him, but not as he's throwing up everywhere. And I knew I had to wake up 4 hours later to work out. And I was tired, stinky. I just wanted to sleep in my bed. Is that too much to ask? So I did. I said yes. I was like, because if I say no here, I'm going to fail as a father. So I went down, slept with him on the couch. Kind of didn't even really sleep. It was just like half asleep. And then throughout the rest of the night, he throws up 3 or 4 more times all over the floor. And then he goes upstairs to throw up in a bathroom, and he doesn't lift the lid up, and he throws up all over the toilet seat and the floor. So it was just like constantly. And then that was only Friday, right? Was that Friday?
Yeah.
And it's Sunday night. It's been continuing every single day.
And a lot of other ends. Yeah. And I had to do
explosions everywhere.
I did so much laundry and Clorox wiping, and oh my gosh, my hands are like are almost so dry from sanitizing everything. I did, like, I'm not exaggerating, like 8 loads of laundry today of just pillowcases that are on the couch, throw blankets, all the things. But anyways, the reason we're telling you this is not to gross you out, even though I hope you are. The reason that started first off is because Chris did mention he has the bubble guts, which
I did say that.
he's made it pretty far. So this is great. So we're praying that we don't get this, but just kind of like talk about communicating together whenever that was stressful. And I don't know about you guys, but like, I think one of the most stressful things as a parent is when your kids get sick and when it's at the same time. Now we're really lucky that we weren't sick while they were sick, because I think that is like the ultimate stressor,
Mhm.
but making sure that the way you communicate so that your kid doesn't like feel bad that they're sick.
Yeah, I felt like we did a really good job this weekend because so many disastrous, stinky, horrible things happened
So
Just-
stinky.
over and over and over again. And like every time it happened, we were just like, okay, we'll help you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, go us. This is really good.
Yeah.
And I think we wouldn't have always have reacted like that.
No.
Like I feel like this past year we've grown a lot, matured a lot, mastered emotions more. Not mastered, but we're a lot better at it.
Yeah.
And when crazy stuff happens, it's going to happen. Okay. Next thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's really important too to like make sure that like the way our emotions are doesn't make, we have to have ours under control so much that we don't make our kids feel like what they're experiencing is on purpose. You know, when you're sick, you can't help it. So a lot of times it's so stressful for the adults that sometimes you can take it out in like a passive aggressive way to the kids, and then they
Yes, you
start to
can.
feel really bad that they're sick, but you want them to be able to come to you whenever they need help.
And boy, they come to us.
Mm-hmm. They're not nervous about
We've
that.
mastered that part because no matter, even if there was like a tiger eating my arm off, my kids would both ask me for a snack and water. So they are not afraid to ask us for anything. They would step over me to ask me for a cup of water. I was being eaten alive by a bear.
And then you wouldn't respond fast enough, so then they'd come to me.
No, they would say, "Dad, did you hear me?" You go, Dad, look at me, Dad.
Oh Lord. But
It's been 3 straight days of puke, diarrhea.
we're just
And this-
really tired.
This is the real parenting podcast right now.
It really is. And I bet every single person that's a parent and watches this completely understands exactly how we feel and has gone through this as
First
well.
podcast might have been a little more peppy. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, we're just really tired and real right now because it's exhausting to keep it all together and make sure your house is sanitized.
Yeah.
Woo.
But anyway, we were I think we did a pretty good job of communicating, not just with the kids, but with each other. Because like did we get mad at each other at all this weekend?
No,
I think there wasn't there one time
I don't remember.
there was a little skiff,
I don't,
skirmish.
I don't remember that. Maybe that was your belly. A little skirmish.
That's to be seen.
This is so inappropriate. This.
Oh no, we were talking about. If you want to go there, we're talking about moving.
Mm. Yeah, but it has nothing to do with this week. What we're talking about.
Communication.
Communication.
Bring it up later.
Mm. We can't.
Action.
Well,
Action.
I guess we have to, because we can't
Action.
tell people they have to do stuff and then we don't do it.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. So anyway, to recap the weekend.
That wasn't part of the weekend though.
When was it? Earlier?
Like Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, well, we'll recap the weekend first.
Okay.
You could feel the tension. Cut it with a knife. So everyone was sick all weekend, and we did a good job communicating with each other, with the kids, I thought. And we just kind of let it happen. And the fun isn't over, because both of our kids were whining as they went to sleep, saying how sick they were and how horrible they felt and how they don't want to go to school tomorrow. And so we have to deal with that all. That's coming too.
Yeah. And then dealing with like if they're not fine for school, like, the whole who stays home, and that's always a whole thing too with working parents. So, that's something for another day. But yeah, so it's kind of a crazy weekend. I'm sure everyone can agree on those kinds of things happening. But, I think we started really talking about that because of like in times of chaos, how you communicate is so key. But, I was thinking of other couples, or honestly, us in the past too, years and years ago, where you have a chaotic moment like that, where you're really stressed out and you might snap at your partner to make sure that they're faster, or, you want more help than you're given. And instead of just being like, I need help, it becomes like this huge situation because you don't know how to just say, I need help. And a lot of people struggle with that in general with a lot of things, but you shouldn't struggle with asking your spouse for help. I feel like you're my person that should help me.
Yeah.
But you do, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, like, ideally the person should.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, when they communicate, they kind of, through their past history, know that the other person is going to put up a little bit of resistance for whatever reason. And then it comes off like bitchy or passive aggressive. And then it just repeats over years and years, thousands of times. And then they can't really communicate clearly. But like you said, you just got to say, I need help with this, not have like hidden messages behind it.
Yeah. And that's really important. And that goes along with like everything, not just those chaotic moments, but like as soon as you start doing that, it's so habitual to just always talk to your spouse like that. So then it's just like nonstop passive aggressive all the time. And you build up this resentment year after year after year. It comes into a big problem.
Yeah. A lot of people, at least whenever we're around them, only talk to each other in passive aggressive ways.
Yeah.
It's like never a clear message. It's always like, can you do this because I know you haven't done it in the past? Like that's the message.
Yeah.
It's like, can you take the laundry out because I know you never do? Like that's like the hidden meaning behind it.
Yeah.
And the person knows that's what's happening.
And I feel like we're at this like age now, we're both 35, where like, people's relationships are at like turning points for better or for worse. It's like at that age right now. And like it is so interesting what has become the norm in society of how you talk to your spouse, or like I feel like it's so normal for you to hear, like, I hate saying this, but like the nagging female, or like it's just like that's the social norm almost. And it's like accepted everywhere, but it's like an actual problem. And if you do that for so long, like you start to see what the outcome of that is later on.
You mean like if you nag over and over again?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You turn into the typical guy who retires and lives at the country club and his wife is off with her girlfriends and they never talk to each other.
Yeah. And it's like super sad because that's not what you should want, but
no.
Yeah.
It's not what I want.
Just kidding. I need some space.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm smushed.
But that does happen. And a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
So in times of crisis, what can you do? You can calm down. You can just understand that the crazy things that are happening are not happening to you. They're just happening. You need to look at them like it's something floating down a river. And that's how you can, not just with your spouse or with kids or with anything, but just in life, when things are happening to you that are crazy and chaotic, They're not happening to you. They're just happening. You can either participate in all the chaos of that, or you can just observe it happening and remain calm.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't matter like how you decide to feel and think makes no difference on the other thing, because it's just all in your head. So if you want to react better, then you might as well just remain calm, because it's not gonna matter. It's not gonna affect the other thing, but it will affect you, and then that will affect your ability to help people.
Yeah.
That was wise.
So wise. You're like a little Buddha over
Buddha.
here. Buddha baby.
Mm-hmm.
Buddha baby with bubble guts.
But we were talking about moving, and we have a fine house. We have a nice house.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice. It's fine. It's good. We have a pizza oven in the backyard, Jonathan. We have a sauna in the backyard. We have nice yard, nice patio, good for entertaining. But me, I've always had this vision in my head of like living by a forest, living by a huge field, maybe even like a farm, my kids running around. And I'm very big on visualization. And anytime for me to motivate myself and for me to continue pushing ahead, I have to visualize a scenario in the future that I'm working towards. That's been in my head for years. And then I don't know what brought it up. What brought it up?
What brought it up is that we live in Pittsburgh and it's been rainier than years past. And Chris will say it rains like this every single year. But if you actually look up the stats, because I did, this is one of the rainier years that we've had, like later into the season. By now, it's usually rains, maybe once a week or something, not a huge deal. But Chris had a little bit of whatever that's called, seasonal depression for a minute.
No, it's been 37 degrees, tornado force winds, dark as a cave.
Not every day.
Soaking wet for
this is
7 months straight.
Very dramatic.
And
Google this, everybody.
Pittsburgh is the cloudiest city in the United States. That's a fact. And so
with the nicest people that make it feel sunny, because we are the best city of people. Okay, continue.
Sure. So I was like, man, I'm serious. We've got to move. Like we've got to start looking to go somewhere that's just sunnier.
But the inflection of his voice was not that calm.
That makes everyone full of joy.
Yeah, but he was extremely aggravated as he said it.
Because I was soaking wet, freezing.
You weren't soaking wet. You were literally laying in our cozy cottage of a house under a blanket on your laptop getting work done while I was watching a show, and we were just snuggling.
All I wanted was a single ray of sun over the past 2 months. That's all I wanted. I'm like a flower. I need the sun. I need to soak in the sunlight. But anyway. It caused a little communication rift.
Yeah.
What happened? Take me through the next sequence of events.
I'm
sure you remember them.
Well, the way you explained it, it was like, we already talked about this, so this isn't new, but he was saying why he wanted to move, but it was like not coming off well. It was like super, the way that I perceived it, we'll say it that way. Like you were really ungrateful for what we have and you're being like super selfish. And it was like, this is what we have to do, because if we don't, we like you said like how you envision this, which is really cool. Like the farm, the land, I would want more land. That's cool. But you were saying like in this little house, and then you named all these things wrong with our house. And it was like, you're emotional in a bad mood is what brought it on. And it like kind of triggered me because it just made me annoyed because I don't want to move. And I'm fine with traveling and maybe going somewhere for a longer period of time because I love the mountains so much. Like I really love the mountains, but I know I wouldn't want to live at the mountains because I'm also extremely social. And if I lived on a mountain, it would take me like 40 minutes to get down the mountain to like go to the gym and have a community of people. So I know myself that I would be like happy that I live in this cool place, but actually over time, it would like eat me alive a little bit that I didn't have a social life. And so like, I already know that, but like, I would be more than happy to visit, like have a mountain house or have a lake house and like stay there for longer periods of time. And then, go back and forth. And it feels like you have this cool treat of going to this amazing place, but then you're still with all the people that you love and that you want to be with. So I don't know what was said in the conversation, but I was like, no. And then I called him out a little bit on him being ungrateful.
Yes, you did.
And normally I don't do that. Normally I'm just like, it's fine. It's not like really worth it, But I felt very passionate about this because I needed him to know that like I wasn't okay with moving. And I like firmly believe that. And, like I'm very like traditional too. Like I'll never, ever travel on Christmas or Thanksgiving. Like those are holidays that you have formed traditions family wise in your spot. So like, I'm super firm believer of that. So I'm like, I couldn't just move somewhere because like all my traditions for holidays and special things are like here in Pittsburgh. And that's where all the people are that I love. And for me, and I know it's true for him too, but like I'm people first, then other things. And I know you firmly are like that too, deep down, like your core. But like for me, like your community is what's key. And like you can move somewhere else and make new friends, but it's not like the same as like all your support is in this spot. We've got family and our friends. And like my gym is like more than just a gym. Those are like my people, like I found something that makes me so happy and I'm super at peace with. And like, I think in life, you chase things that are bigger, but sometimes you have to stop and realize that like, if you're at peace with something, that's the main goal in life is to like be at peace. It's not the success. It's not the keep chasing the next thing. Like when you die, it's like, was that person at peace? Like, did I feel fulfilled in my heart? Like for me, that's like my number one thing is feeling that way and being pretty zen and at peace. And I feel very fortunate that I'm kind of in a little place right now in this little pocket of peace because I can only speak for like myself and I know what my internal goals are. And for me, wealth and success is awesome, but that's not my big goal. Like it's having like core groups of people that I know I can depend on and that I am well loved and accepted for who I am. And I feel like I have all that right here. So I don't want to rebuild that because I know I'm going to be in this like inner turmoil if I go somewhere else and have to take what took me years and years and years and years to build and do that all over again for like a bigger yard.
I want a donkey. Yeah, but I want a donkey.
We'll get one in the backyard.
Very good.
Thank you. So now we're not moving because I am now Buddha.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
so she called me out and I needed it because whenever I reflected, I was like, yeah, I'm being ungrateful.
Yeah, but I wasn't mean about it. Was I?
You said you're being ungrateful, you asshole.
I never called you an asshole in my life.
But it was good.
I called you a donkey.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Before going into what you said, like, well, a communication lesson there was she called me out. She wasn't afraid to call me out. If we had a worse relationship, she would have been afraid to call me out. And she probably wouldn't have. She wouldn't have called me out. And then like 2 months later, she would have said like a really passive aggressive, bitchy comment to me. And then I would have been like, where's that coming from? And that's because she didn't she wasn't straight with me now. But since she was straight with me now, had the guts to say it, and had the good communication skills to say it, we avoid further future communication problems. So the harder thing now avoided toxic, horrible things in the future, which was good.
Yeah. And I think it's also important too, because like we both support each other's dreams, but I don't want him to have this huge vision that's like, and we're moving to this mountain where it takes us 4 hours to get down the mountain.
That.
You know what I mean, though?
I said I want a yard.
And a donkey now.
I said I want one ray of sunshine every 6 months. That's all.
But I did say that I was willing to move to like a different place in our area that had the bigger yard, even though I know I would like weep like a baby when I left this house. And it's only because I'm extremely sentimental.
We also live in a valley. So not only are we in the cloudest city in the world, we also live in a valley, which is okay. Continue.
But I mean, there's a million things I love about our house, but I would love to, of course, change certain things. But like at the end of the day, we are extremely like fortunate for what we have. And years ago when we were house hunting, I would never dream that we could have a house the way that we do for like, you know, right when we were married. And though this is most likely not our forever home, I feel like it was like perfect for how we built our family here.
Yeah, it's fine. It's good.
So yeah, but you're right. It was the communication was good. It wasn't stressful. It was just like, I just got some big emotions I wasn't expecting to have, you know?
But luckily we were able to talk through it.
Yeah. And now we have a donkey in the backyard.
Yeah. That's all I wanted. Yeah, it was good. I was happy it happened because let me reflect and made me appreciate you and how you're communicating, how you're honest with me.
Thanks, babe.
And it kind of led us into kind of like trained us for the weekend that was to come.
Yeah.
Because we did that and we handled it well. And then the weekend to come was just like pure carnage. And it's still happening. We
were like, yeah, ready for it.
And this next year will be a further test for us. It'll be a lot of risks, a lot of investing in ourselves, a lot of huge growth and pushing through hardships, and we will be tested. Yeah. I think it's going to be exciting. I think it will be too. I don't think it's going to be as many hardships as we think. But I mean, we can't tell them yet what it's about. No, we'll reveal. We'll reveal it later. But yeah, in about a month. We're not having another baby, just for the viewers who are thinking that. It's an impossibility. It is impossible. But yeah, I almost started singing a song and I just stopped myself. Okay. So we didn't officially write this down, but what are some like hard and fast rules we can say whenever things are falling apart and things are chaotic? We will not do this to each other. We will not talk to each other like this, no matter what. Our non-negotiables of communications between our spouses. I think the number one non-negotiable is like, for me, words. Like I hang on to anything that like anyone says, like it super affects me. So like name calling is like a number one, like no way. Like if like I'm not going to be so mad and be like, you're an asshole. Like, because you can't take that back. And to someone else, that might be not even a big deal to you. But like for me, I don't think we've never done that. That's what I'm saying. Never done that. But no, we haven't. That's what I'm saying though. That is a non-negotiable. Like if you called me a mean name, I would carry that for a very long time. And a lot of people call each other names all the time, I think. And it's like slides right off. Doesn't matter. Like I can't handle that because I actually my feelings get very hurt. Because I'm like, you called me that. Do you really think that about me?
You know what I mean?
Well,
And
it's
then,
just a constant eroding of your identity. That's
yeah,
how I see it. It's like for anything. If you have a kid and you don't call them by their name, you can over 18 years when you address your child, you can either be slowly adding bricks or you can be taking them away in terms of the words you use for them.
yeah,
Like you're either saying, hey bud, hey warrior, hey princess, hey smart guy, whatever, or you could have these little demeaning names that constantly erode and just chip away. So you're either slowly building or slowly chipping away. Same thing with your spouse.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I see it as an identity thing, but I know lots of people do that. Like I know for whatever, I know women who go like, Bob, you're such an ass,
Yes.
stuff like that, or
Yes.
oh, you're such like in front of everyone at parties, like, oh,
To be funny almost.
he's such a jerk, like calling their husbands jerks in front
Yeah.
of their family and friends,
Yeah.
and you look at the husband and he just like doesn't say anything and just takes it and looks obviously hurt,
Yeah.
and nothing registers to the other person. It's really sad.
I think that they think that they're like kind of being funny to get like attention from others, but really it is sad. It's degrading to your spouse, but it's also extremely awkward for everybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like not funny. It's very trashy.
Okay, so no name calling. It's one of
Yeah.
our non-negotiables. What else?
It's your turn. I gave one.
Okay. So no name calling. One of my non-negotiables would be not bringing up past
Yes.
past issues.
I
Which I
feel
don't know
like
if I've been perfect at that. I don't think I do that.
I don't think I feel like here's my thought. We can go back to that, but like, I feel like we've been together now. This is a little crazy for like 18 years because we dated before we got married. I feel like a lot of the exploring of how to deal with each other happened seriously so long ago. I'm positive we tested each other and got a lot of things out. But I feel like we know each other so well now that like I could make you mad in 5 seconds if I really wanted to. And you could do that too.
Oh.
Oh my gosh. You're gonna have to edit that.
Wrap this puppy up.
Oh my God. This is
Ooh. Things are brewing.
okay. You have to cut that out because it grumbled. But what I was saying, let me recap. But we have been together for so long that I feel like we know how to test each other if we wanted to, but we
Trying to figure out exactly what's happening.
do you need to go.
No, not yet. It's part of this equation. It's the time. It's like an algebra equation. It's the time, impending doom versus what it is equals emergency.
I'm still talking. You're not putting this in, are you?
Okay, keep going. You can make me mad if you wanted to.
What I was saying was I could make you mad if I wanted to in a heartbeat because we have figured this out. I feel like when you're with someone for so long, I can't do this.
Keep going.
Stop making your faces.
I think I'm making a face.
You are. You're just going to have to figure out what's the best way of me saying this. But I feel like we've been together for so long that a long time ago, we went through all the trial and error of figuring out what to do when we were arguing or disagreed on something. But now you literally look so bored.
Bored. I'm trying to focus.
You're trying not to shit your pants.
It's not a bored look. It's a focused look.
This is like freaking me out.
Keep going. I'm in control.
Oh, sweet gosh. Okay. Anyways, cut all that. What I've been trying to say is we've been together for so long that, you know, in that 18 years of being together, we've had that trial and error of knowing like this is what makes you mad, or this is what really gets you fired up. This is what not to say, and you like learn those things so that by the time you get to the point where we are now, it's like, it's not worth it because you love that person so much not to, bring things up in the past or call each other names or whatever those non-negotiables are, because you already learned that. So like, I don't think we necessarily have those things written down.
No.
I think we have learned it in the past of like, I know this is actually when Chris is upset. Like, for example, when you're super heated about something, the best thing I can do is stay silent until you go through your rant. If I interrupt you, then it's a whole second issue. And I learned that a long time ago, but I also learned that what I say, his mind is so upset about whatever he's talking about or so focused on, you're not even going to hear what I say anyway. So, you know what I mean? Because you can't process it yet. So let you have your moment, and then there's a moment, and then it's my turn. And I feel like we learned that through trial and error. And I feel like but what happens with a lot of couples is they know it makes you even more mad when they interrupt. So they're going to keep interrupting because they want to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Cascading crap storm.
Yeah. Speaking of, no, but like, honestly, I think that's what's important is like realizing, when you argue with your spouse, it shouldn't be someone who wins the argument. And I think that's like people's goal is like, win that one, even if you don't say it and you like think it. No one should win. It should be that you understand each other differently or better after that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the problem with a lot of couples is that they just want to win or look smarter or look like told you so type situation to make themselves feel more validated, even though it's like worse for your relationship. So they make it all about them instead of all about them as a team.
Yeah, it's just internal issues that the other person now has to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because if I was unconfident, if I was selfish, if I had, I was self-conscious of myself, I would have all these issues that are unresolved. And then they would come out every single day when I communicate with you, and you'd have to deal with them. And other people would see them as our communication problems, but really it's just, I don't like who I am.
Yeah. I feel like that's always what it comes down to at the end of the day in any relationship.
Because a lot of the people who have the worst communication skills, they are also the least satisfied with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't, and I think they think like you may have a couple where one person decides, say both people have a history of not working out, of eating like crap and just leaving sloppy lives. And all of a sudden one of them is like, all right, this is my time to rise. This is my time to get my shit together. And they start doing it no matter what. Just, saying, I don't care if no one supports me, I'm going to do it. The other person is going to look at them like a mirror and look back at themselves and be like, well, do they think they're better than me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why are they trying to leave me? Like, they're trying to leave me in the dust. Like, what's wrong with me? And it turns all the focus in on themselves. And then most of the time, they're not going to come out and just say that. They're not going to say, hey, you're getting better. I'm not. This is making me upset because I don't like who I am. Like, no one's going to say that.
Yeah.
So it just festers inside and it grows. And then it turns into passive aggressive comments that build up over years. I've seen that in couples.
Mm-hmm. I have too. Yeah. I think sometimes that the person who is the unhappy one with themselves doesn't realize that that's what the problem is, because they're so used to pinpointing blame on someone for everything. I think people can sometimes be brought up to be like, make sure things aren't their fault. You know what I mean? And then that is like also a whole other problem.
Mhm. All right. So we got 2 non-negotiables. We have don't bring up past issues in your current issues. So if you have it in a time of crisis, don't bring up past problems, and no name calling.
Yeah.
Is there a third one, or we want to leave it at 2?
I don't know. I feel like I don't have, I feel like we know how to handle each other.
Well, what we do, we want to
I
help
know, but
people.
I can't think of another one at this moment.
Yeah, it's also if you are not really, if you don't really like the other person, if you're not like in love with the other person, then none of this is going to matter.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not like any technique you have won't really have any effect if you don't truly love the other person.
Mm-hmm.
Because when it comes down to it, like you don't want to hurt the people that you love, and you don't want to do things that take away from who they are. So when everything crumbles down, when your whole house falls down, like what's left is you and the other person and how you treat them. And if you don't care about that person, then you're left with nothing, and anything can happen.
Yeah. You have to build that firm foundation on your relationship, just like a house. And then you fill it with all the fun things, but that is true. I think there's some people in their relationships that are super unhappy, and, like saying certain tips, it's like, doesn't matter to them because they don't care if they hurt the other person's feeling.
Yeah. And then if that's you, and maybe like you were in love at one point and now you're not, then that's when you seek therapy. You seek counseling, coaching, whatever it is for you, to help you and your spouse work through it. Well, everyone, at any moment, I may have my own emergency. So we're going to end this this here
Abruptly.
and hopefully by next week, the stomach bug is out of our house. It's coming to you.
It's not coming to me, I hope.
We're
Guys,
pretty close.
I know. I have, just everyone pray, because we can't all have this.
No, I think it's finally done with the kids, and now it's been gifted to me. And then
This is communication and chaos. Hey, babe, could you sleep on the couch tonight so that I don't get it?
that was the chair.
Guys, this is the grossest podcast we've probably ever
Will do.
So please continue to watch us, because please excuse my husband's grossness tonight.
Just trying to be real. Just trying to be authentic. This is real me. Bubble guts.
You do you.
Yeah, that's right. All right, everyone. Please subscribe. Please like. Please comment. Please share this with someone. Let's grow this thing. Thank you, everyone. See ya.
Bye, guys.